that we'll call the Daily Pickle.
I am in a pickle.
We actually get to say that on the radio.
An exclusive presentation of The Rob Dibble Show.
What did Hunter say? The fried pickles here?
No, yeah, well, they do the fried pickles.
The fried pickles.
And they just give you the pickles,
Give you
too.
the
It's kind of like your side of bread around here. Better
Nice.
for you.
Nice.
Healthier.
We love it. Well, this is our Daily Pickle. We talk about the MLB. And coming down to the final 10 games, some teams have 8 games, some teams have 6 games. Absolutely crazy. We were live from Plan B. We got a ton of stuff to give away. Let's go over some of the stuff you're giving away today.
Well, the belle of the ball, the biggest prize, is those Patriot Bills tickets.
Not the sound on sound?
I don't know. Put it in the scale. You got Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Dude, I'm a fan of Alanis Morissette. She's amazing. John Mayer.
That's a
Red Hot
two-day
Chili
event
Peppers,
as
2-day
well.
event.
Versus the one game that you're going to get. But, yes, we're going to try to push out as many tickets as we possibly can. Not only that, the sound on sound, not 1 day, 2-day GA passes, 2-day pair GA passes. We've got a couple of those
5 of those?
as well. Yeah, we've got
5 pair of those sound on sound.
5 pair, right.
5 pair.
We only have
of
one
Mayer.
pair of the New England Buffalo tickets, and that will be at the very end of the show. We get off at 6:25 because of the Yankees. So once the Yankees start
The
their pregame.
Yankees.
So also, if you want to go to the UConn Sacred Heart game in November, that better be a win, by the way, for the Huskies. Better be. I still can't get over FIU. I can't get over it.
And by the way,
I
there's
think
still
about it all
tickets
day.
available for CC Sabathia tomorrow night at Southern Connecticut State University.
bringing
I'll
that
be
up.
there, taking my whole team there. If you're a coach, you definitely want to bring your kids there and hear his story.
That helps out the athletic department. And then
Helps out the baseball team.
We got Lil Yachty tickets.
Lil
as well to
Yachty?
give away. Plus,
The Little Boat?
our Bud Light friends gave us a bunch of stuff to give away. We got those chairs once again, your tailgate chairs, your tailgate cooler. We got some, I call them boggins from where I'm from, but knit hats? Is that what you call them? We got some giant
Where's
knit
Josh?
hats.
Josh, we got glasses again? We giving away no glasses today?
Not the flutes.
All right, no
The
flutes today?
No flutes today. But we got a bunch of stuff to give the people just
Ton
for
of merch.
showing up. You don't even have to win the games for that stuff. You just come on to Plan B in Southington for your chance to win any of those prizes. Did you see what happened with the Dodgers game yesterday?
I did not.
Multiple things happened. So they stopped it right in the middle of the game. Umpire waving his arms. Stop the game, stop the game. We got something in the air. The commentators thought it was a drone of some sort. Turned out to be a humongo bubble. Just somebody blew
A bubble?
a huge bubble, not like with bubble gum.
And it was
not
floating around. No, like a bubble you give your kid.
Right.
That
But
fools
they
around
had
the,
one of the
driveway.
huge, like, carnival bubble makers that makes the biggest bubbles possible. And this one bubble, just one bubble dibs, floated all the way across the outfield. And they had to stop the game. Stop the game for the bubble. The bubble finally popped, and then the pitcher looked at the ump and goes,
Can we play now?
It's a bleeping bubble.
Yeah.
So they start playing. And they get to when the Dodgers were at the plate. I think it was either Muncy or Freddie Freeman. I don't know. It was a left-handed batter. Fouls one off, left field side, right at the biggest pterodactyl-looking bird I have ever seen. It was like out of nowhere. Caw-caw! This bird just misses the ball. And it like startles the bird like, how dare you? Circles the entire
Was it
venue.
like a condor?
I think it was a duck. But a huge duck.
Okay, that
not a mallard
ducks don't
though.
get that big.
I agree. Someone
I
said
mean, a
duck.
swan is a little bit bigger. Goose.
It's not a goose. It's not. It was a weird pterodactyl, freakish hybrid style condor, and then it soared all the way around the outfield, came to the backstop, did another loop. It almost started a wave, Dibs. It almost started a wave. Bird was okay. It went back to where
No
it
crows
was.
got on his back.
But the best was the finish. The best was the finish. Max Muncy singled out to right field where Mookie was on second. He came in with the speed he has, gets the slide, gets the touch, gets the win, walk off, see you later, spring up the I Love L.A. song and blow the bubbles. We're dancing. That was against the Tigers, by the way, and what I would deem a should-win ball game for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I think it's better when I don't know. Mookie Betts is having an MVP year. 39 homers, 103 driven in. He scored
Do you think he'll win
123 runs.
Do you think he'll win it?
I don't know, man. You got so many guys that are doing so well in both leagues. It's
I
gonna
like
be
Harper.
crazy.
I like Acuna.
Harper's been amazing. Acuna Jr.'s been amazing. Mookie's been amazing. I mean, Freddie Freeman has been amazing. Matt Olson has been amazing. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Then the American League's the same thing. You've got like 5 to 10 guys that could easily win the MVP.
So Tiger talk, the Detroit Tigers, just during the Sports Center we heard, the Tigers get a new general manager. The Detroit Tigers in Major League Baseball, new general manager to pick their baseball players.
Where, he's coming from the Bears? No, he's coming from the Blackhawks.
Coming from Chicago.
Yeah.
Turns out he's
Chicago.
from the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks GM is now the Tigers GM. You ever seen that before?
I have.
You have?
I'm trying to think of. God, I remember when Bo Schembechler became the GM of the Tigers from Michigan football.
The old Miami coach, Bo Schembechler?
No, Bo Schembechler from Michigan.
Yeah, sorry. Who am I thinking?
You're thinking of Schnellenberger.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking.
I
get my burgers
I'm
mixed
really
up.
dating myself
We're at
here.
Plan B, man.
Right, we're at Plan B. But no, so Bo Schembechler came in. I'll never forget this. And because we played Detroit so many times in spring training, their weight room was unbelievable the next year. When he brought in the Michigan football strength and conditioning guy.
I like that.
And that's when the Tigers, that was when like Matt Noakes, Lance Parrish, all these guys were just all,
that wasn't any special sauce. That was just training,
listen, I'm not judging those guys. I'm just saying I walked into their weight room, to lift my 3-pound dumbbells.
Of course.
And be like, what is going on in here? It was a football locker room in spring training.
So is Jeff Greenberg, and you probably know the name because not only was the Chicago Blackhawks, but 10 years before that, he was with my Chicago Cubs. So he does have a lot of baseball knowledge. I just found it interesting that they went with the Blackhawks lead for Jeff Greenberg to get that Tigers GM job. A couple other things that are going on. There was another home run catch by a dad, a fan in the stands. It was at the Braves-Phillies game. The dad was holding a baby. And everyone's saying, wow, look at that catch, Dibbs. He's holding his baby while he makes the home run catch. Dumbest thing you can ever do.
It is. It's pretty scary. I hate when
scary.
they're doing that, because God forbid it might hit the baby and the baby could get injured. Going back to your question, Paul DePodesta is the guy's name.
Oh, okay.
So Paul DePodesta had been, I think, with the Blue Jays, possibly the Mets. He had been a general manager, and now he is the chief strategy officer of the Cleveland Browns. And I balked at that years ago. Like, are you serious? He's been there for half a dozen years.
There you go.
He's been there. So, and they've gotten better. So it happens. Guys will translate into their analytics prowess going thing to thing. But the thing with the baby is, don't ever use the baby as a
shield,
a shield or a prop. In fact, you should be protecting the baby, and if the ball hits you, like in the back or the head,
exactly.
That's what you do as a parent.
Exactly. But he makes the catch. Everybody cheers.
Oh yeah, because we're lame brains in this country. Oh, that's great. The guy's holding the baby.
I know.
And the baby survived. It shouldn't come down to that.
Someone who might not be surviving will be me this weekend. I don't know,
What's
man.
the problem?
The stress of my Chicago Cubs, who have lost 6 of the last 7. They lost to the stupid Pirates last night with Justin Steele on the mound, who didn't last.
They're allowing the Reds to possibly creep in there.
Well, luckily the Reds still suck, and so do the Miami Marlins. They both lost games last night. The San Francisco Giants are playing themselves out of it. Plus, I saw a couple of people hit the IL for the Giants, so they may just be out by the time we come back in on Monday for work after the weekend. But your Reds are hanging. They're a game behind the wild card. Miami Marlins just in front of them with a half a game. They playing the Mets again tonight? I hope so. Come on, Mets! My Cubs have that last spot. Diamondbacks are playing the Giants. Diamondbacks are the team in this mix that have been really hot. They're a game and a half up. And then the Philadelphia Phillies. They're
very thin schedule tonight. Angels play the Rays. Braves play the Nats. Obviously the Braves have already clinched. Toronto and the Yankees continue their series. Like you said, Berrios versus Cole is a great matchup. Orioles playing the Guardians. Guardians still think they have a shot. Phillies are now hosting the Mets as they've traveled up the East Coast from Miami to Philadelphia for that game. Pittsburgh against your Cubbies. Detroit A's fighting for the worst teams in baseball. And then the Giants-Dodgers. Obviously, the Dodgers are just getting ready for the postseason, and the Giants are still trying to make it. But very light schedule in MLB tonight. They don't like to go up against NFL. They never have. They don't like to fight them.
Yeah, well, why don't they change their postseason?
Listen,
they do start.
at least they're ending the season on October 1st. When they were going into the first week of October was just crazy. But now they have so many teams in the postseason. That's going to add an extra week or two in the postseason. You're still going up against NFL and college football.
It's stressful, man. It really is right now. If you've got a team that's in the mix, especially one that hasn't clinched yet, any Miami Marlin fan that's out there, Cincinnati Reds, I'm sure in Cincinnati they're just going bonkers with the last couple of weeks. My Chicago
But this
Cubs,
has worked perfectly for Rob Manfred and his people.
It really has.
This is what I talked about a few years ago when you started Wild Card. It gives more cities hope later into the season. Obviously, the Yankees now, it's when you have 10 games left in the season, you're 8 back of the last wild card spot. You're starting to see, the end of the season is near for you. But if you're like a Cub, Marlin, Red, Giant, Padre fan, even at 75 and 78, the Padres are only 4.5 out. Could be a miracle. Everybody keeps losing and you keep winning. Could happen, right? So as long as those cities still think that there's hope that they could possibly be that third wild card team in and get into the postseason, that's what makes this whole thing work. Is that we're 152 games in. Reds are 154 games into their schedule, 8 remaining. They're 1 game out. I was watching all the different social media this morning. They're all like, we still have a chance. We still have a chance. We're not mathematically eliminated.
No.
So until you're mathematically eliminated, it's great for those cities that still think they have a chance.
Have you heard about the rumor that John Boy, maybe he started it or maybe somebody floated it his way, but he had reported, he has heard there is a strength and conditioner, I think he's player development, Don Tricker from the San Diego Padres, and players have reported they think he's spying on them. He's sitting in the back of meetings and he's asking questions without coming up with any answers for the last couple of months. He thinks he's getting into their social media all the time. He's asking them a bunch of questions that they don't really like. Manny Machado is side-eyeing a lot of the stuff that he has been like just hanging around, and there's fear that the Padres have a mole in their midst. You ever have one of these? Has this ever happened?
Always. Always? Yeah. Listen, I don't care if it's a traveling secretary. And
what are they trying to figure out?
They're keeping an eye on people. What are you doing after hours and why you're losing, things like that. They're trying to sniff out what might be the weak links and the guys that could be corrupting the team. But listen, that's what happened to Willie Randolph with the Mets. You had Tony Bernazard and other front office guys that were sniffing around him all the time.
Yeah.
And eventually Willie Randolph lost his job. So there's always going to be somebody. Here's the biggest tell, that when a former manager or possibly a guy up for a managerial job joins your organization, and you're maybe in the last year, your last 2 years of your managerial or head coaching, it could be football, could be anything,
right?
Basketball, and somebody joins the staff as like an advisor.
That's a scary.
That is a scary thing if you're a manager or you're a coach, and it happens all the time. All of a sudden, now that guy's reporting back to. I've seen it with general managers. I've seen assistant general managers stab general managers in the back. Happened in Cincinnati when I was there.
Wow.
I'm not going to name names, but there's guys that will be like in the owner's ear going, I could save you some money here, 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 and here, where that guy's spending money on, trying to, make everything go.
So are they looking maybe for points of leverage?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're trying to look to gain some ground in management, get a bigger contract, I think there's a lot of people that are out there that would be backstabbing.
It's fascinating. His name's Don Tricker. I think that's just perfect. He's also from New Zealand, and I guess the code word is, again, reported by John Boyd, the code word that the Padres are using is the Kiwi is in the building. I repeat, the Kiwi is in
so they have a secret code for him?
The Padres are onto it. The players are onto it.
But see, John Boy shouldn't have reported that, because now he just gave that
guy
up. The secret's out. Now you're going to send another spy in there.
Well, John Boy loves the intricacies of baseball, and this
John Boy's the best,
is
by the
one
way.
of them. It definitely is one of them. I thought it was fascinating, and it's even more fascinating that this happens all the time. I thought this was a one-off, but you're telling me
No. Oh, my God. Listen, I don't even want to get into the players. There was Norm, the reason why I'm so tight with some of my former teammates were they were the only ones I trusted. There were so many guys, and I'm not saying they're going back to management or anybody else. Some of them were talking to their wives. Some of them were ratting out guys. You remember, I can't remember the dude's name. I think it was Kevin Elster's wife. She's the one that opened up all of the Mets players because she had a private detective following him around. He came in, and he was doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing, and he got caught. But they also caught like 4 other players doing some stuff that they shouldn't have been doing. And basically they ended up getting divorced and wrecked their lives. So
the espionage of baseball is deeper than just banging on trash cans.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Listen, and like and I'm very open about this stuff because I am divorced. And I'm very happily married to my wife the last 18 years. But my wife knew everything before she married me. I told her all of my sordid past. She knew everything. Because listen, she was getting involved with a guy that obviously had been in the worst part of Major League Baseball's history. I'm not talking about the steroids. I'm talking about we had 2 parties at Charlie Sheen's house. It's public knowledge. He's gone on Howard Stern and talked about it. It's in Heidi Fleiss's book about our parties. And so I wanted to always clear the air that, listen, yeah, I was there, and these are the things that happened, and I'm not proud of a lot of the stuff that happened, but I'm not going to lie about it, But there were guys that ran back to their wives, made it sound like they weren't there when they were, and that they weren't a part of all that.
CYA mode.
That's right.
They're in CYA
Thank
mode.
you. And so now you know why.
That's crazy.
Listen, it's so we had like the Eric Davises and the Larkins and the O'Neills and the guys that I'm closest to, but it wasn't. We weren't doing anything. That's why a lot of the times I stayed close to home. We stayed in the hotel bar where we could be seen. I'll never forget. I don't want to bring the guy's name up, but he hadn't been playing well. Lou Piniella was sitting there at 3 a.m. when the dude walked in. And the next day, the guy was gone.
How did he know? How did Lou know?
Because Lou's smart. Lou was on the Yankees back in the 70s. Lou was a player. Wasn't spying. He's the manager. He's not a spy. So when the guy walked towards him at 3 a.m. and we had a 2-hour after the game curfew, and it's like 5 hours after the game ended, you're toast. You're toast. So, but then the guy, I guess, smarted off to Lou, too.
Well, he knew it was done, so he was going to get his money's worth.
I guess. I honestly.
Oh, man. I wish I was in the lobby that night.
Well, he was with his coaches, too. So the coaches were there, too. They were all sitting. Listen.
Oh, so it was an army just
well, it wasn't an army. It was the coaching staff. And
like
this happens all the time. It's like, all right, so,
intervention almost.
If you've seen so many football movies where they're all in a dorm together and some guys are trying to, and it's even happened recently where guys were trying to sneak girls in and stuff like that and get caught.
Well, this was the 2020 bubble.
Yeah,
the bubble.
I mean, the funniest thing to me is like you're stupid enough to think you can get away with it. These guys, especially the former players, now coaches, they've been there, they've done that.
Right.
Don't try to get over on them. They're going to catch you every time. So if that's what I'm saying is Lou was there with the Mike. Nobody was worse than the '70s Yankees and what they were doing. Read some of those books about Thurman Munson and Reggie and all those. Oh my God, those guys were insane. You go back to Mickey Mantle and the Yankees.
Of course.
You go back to Babe Ruth. You mean, but now the smaller market teams, that same stuff was going on. We just didn't have 20 reporters reporting on it all the time. And there used to be probably, and I know I'm going long. There used to be a time where you could trust the reporters because they were in your group.
Oh, not anymore.
They would be at a bar getting drinks with you. They would be around all of that stuff that was going on. And exactly. And by the end of my career, it was like, dude, these guys are now telling the manager, telling the general manager exactly what's going on.
That secrecy was traded for access back then. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I will not tell all the stuff that we are doing as long as you give me an expose interview after the game.
True. But here's the best part about it, though. There's some guys like a Mickey Mantle was still a Hall of Famer and led a Hall of Fame life off the field and was able to do both. I don't know how some of those guys did that because they were burning the candle at both ends, so to speak. But it just shows you, and listen, it destroyed some of the Met players. It's well documented on Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. Anybody ever asked me the toughest guy I've ever faced, I'll tell you it's Darryl Strawberry. But if these guys had chosen a different path, maybe they would have lasted a little bit longer. It's tough.
One more baseball question before you go to break. Are you going to be sick to yourself if the Astros repeat?
No. I love Dusty.
Most
of those cads are gone anyway, and they're not really the ones that are contributing right now. They have a whole new cast of amazing carry.
Not Altuve.
Not Altuve. We'll always despise him.
There'll
never be any love for that guy.
They're playing really good baseball. They're not getting tested right now. They can rest if they want to. They got the division locked up in a real tough division. I think they're cruising. They might win it all.
We haven't touched on any college football, so why don't we get into some college football next? Colorado has their toughest opponent of the season at Oregon this weekend. Let's get into some other big games coming up this weekend. It's Ben, it's Rob, it's the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell. We're live from Plan B on Queen Street. We'll be right back after this.